The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back. Ralph Tyko, Comfortably Zoned, New York Yankees tonight. Robert Deininger, Jack Degraw. Start with you, Jack. What's going on in Yankeeville? Have a great show, guys.
Well, the good news tonight for the Yankees, Gary Sanchez is playing a rehab game in Scranton, and he has 2 hits, and one of the hits is a home run.
Yeah, I got to look at that home run. He really belted that one out to left field. And apparently he's lost weight too.
Well, that's good. I know he played a rehab game Saturday down here in the Gulf Coast League. So hopefully, he'll get some games in this week, and we'll have him back by the weekend.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And have you heard anything new on Judge? I heard he's still not swinging a bat and that his wrist is still sore.
Well, one of the things I heard, it's just a rumor that, possibly he might be done for the season.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, it's hard to come back from a wrist.
Yeah, and if you re-injure it, keep hurting it, I mean, it could hurt the rest of your career. And the Yankees have always been like, on injuries, they're very quiet. They really don't say too much. So, it appears as of now that injury is a lot worse than they let on.
Yeah. And how about Luke Voigt, the guy who's been hitting home runs there in Baltimore this past weekend? He's a nice little addition.
The Yankees do a really good job, picking up these guys. I mean, here's a guy, they get him off the Cardinals, and he's got 3 home runs. So,
and do you think Greg Bird's ever going to get out of this funk that he's in? He's only batting 199 on the year.
Well, I had some big plans for him, Robert, and I'm disappointed. I'm not saying you give up on the guy yet, but it just appears that he can't get in any groove.
Yeah, and Tyler Austin seems to be playing well over there in Minnesota, and Voigt might have an opportunity to steal a lot of bats going into September.
Well, you'll have a righty-lefty combination, so if he keeps hitting, he'll get his chance. I mean, these guys have to play every day to get their swing down, and this Voigt has really took an advantage.
Yeah. And tonight, Gleyber Torres hit his 20th home run of the season, and him and Andujar now have 20 home runs as rookies for the Yankees. I think that's some kind of major league record.
Yeah, I never heard of 2 rookies doing that. And so, the kids have really stepped up, and they've done an incredible job. And let's give thanks to the Rays this weekend for beating the Red Sox 3 games in a row.
How about that? The Red Sox are stumbling a little bit lately. They lost 8 of 9 or something like that. And
well, yeah,
won 8 of 9.
Yeah, the Yankees have picked up 4 games in the last 4 or 5 days. So it's starting to get interesting.
Yeah, the Yankees are 6 games out, 5 back in the loss column with 6 games left against Boston, 3 to close out the year. It could be very interesting, that last series of the season.
Yeah, you want to try to avoid that wild card game because that's just a flip of the coin.
That's right. I think Houston has a 1.5 lead over Oakland, and I know they're playing each other tonight, but you don't know who you're going to be facing, Oakland or Houston, and you really don't want to play Houston in a 1-game playoff. Yeah,
because, the pitching they throw at you. Though the Yankees seem to handle them well at Yankee Stadium, but 1 game, anything can happen.
Yeah. And going back to Andujar, since Judge went down, he's batting close to .330 with 9 home runs. I mean, he's really been a savior for this club.
Well, what's interesting, Robert? I mean, they got him hitting cleanup.
Yeah. And usually you see a rookie struggle, and he hasn't really struggled this year. I mean, he's more disciplined than I thought he'd be at the plate, and he can hit. any pitch. He's a really good hitter, a better hitter than I thought he'd be.
Well, the only question about him, Robert, was his defense. And it's not his ability to catch the ball. It's usually his throwing arm. You know, he has trouble throwing sometimes. But, you know, he's good with the glove. He handles that well. But, he's done an incredible job. And I hope the Yankees, stick with him instead of going after Machado.
Yeah, and I heard tonight on watching the game that Alex Rodriguez was working with them, and one of the things he was working with them on was getting the ball out early, the release quicker on defense.
Well, A-Rod works with a lot of these kids down here, and I mean, if you want to learn anything about baseball, A-Rod's the one to talk to because nobody knows baseball like A-Rod. I mean, you can learn a lot from that guy.
Yeah, Greg Bird once said the best hitting advice he ever got was from Alex Rodriguez. I forget what the advice was, but he said it changed his whole approach to hitting.
Well, I've seen A-Rod down here, working with Torres and Torres and, all these Spanish kids like in the minor leagues and stuff. So, he plays a big part behind the scenes and, that he's still a good guy to have in your organization.
Oh, absolutely. And it looks like Severino's coming around. He picked up his 17th win, which I think leads the majors. He's 17-6 on the year at the 3.27 ERA. Be nice to have him at top form heading into September.
Yeah, and the thing is, he'll get 5 or 6 more starts. So there's a very good chance he's going to be a 20-game winner.
And any news on Chapman? Is it just a sore knee, or I haven't heard anything on him?
No, I haven't heard anything on DD. I did hear before yesterday's game he was like hitting off a tee. Yeah. So, he should get some rehab games this week because, the season ends on Labor Day for the Yankee minor leagues team, but I think Trenton Thunder is in the playoffs. So you got less than 2 weeks before, the minor league season is over too. So.
Wow. It's like I can't believe we're already heading into September. This season went by quicker than I thought. Yeah,
I mean, it's coming down to the climax now, and now the good stuff is starting. Looking forward to it in the playoffs, and I just hope the Yankees and the Red Sox will be a great September.
Yeah, well, anything you're looking forward to this month as far as the Yankees are concerned, with players they might bring up? I heard they moved Chance Adams and Justice Sheffield to the bullpen down there.
Well, those guys will be up, and I think Herman will be up, and Lazaga will be up, and, a few other pitchers will be up. So I'm sure they'll bring up 8 or 10 guys. Tyler Wade will be up here, and you know how the Yankees are in September. They bring up everybody.
Do you know how Herman's been doing?
I heard he pitched the other day, and he did pretty well. The interesting thing about those two guys, Robert, Herman and Lazaga, they've been in the minor leagues for 7 or 8 years, and if you look at their stats, they really don't have a lot of experience. Yeah. Lazaga's only got like 70, 75 innings a year of experience. So, a lot of these kids are learning the trade in the big leagues.
And he looked good in the three starts that he had. At least 2 of the 3 he looked really sharp for the Yankees.
Yeah, they got a lot of big arms, and there's a couple guys down here in Tampa. This Nelson kid, and there's a few others. So the Yankees certainly got a lot of talent.
And Zach Britton appears to be coming around a little bit. If he can get back to his old self, I mean, he's a really nice weapon to have late in the innings.
Yeah, I mean, with all the injuries they've had, they've been able to stay together, and if he can get back to his form of a couple years ago, I mean, he's lights out.
And I want to get your opinion on this. If we did have to play in the wild card game, who would you like to see the Yankees start? Tanaka, Severino, or like A.J. Happ maybe?
Well, if it started right now, I'd like to see Happ pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been impressive since he's joined the Yankees. A lot better than I thought he was.
Well, the interesting thing about him is, he's been in the American League East for 6 or 7 years here, and he had a lot of success with Toronto. I think with Toronto he was 20 games over 500, and with the Yankees, so he's been 25 games over for like his last 6 seasons, and he had 20 wins a couple years ago. So he don't get overwhelmed. He just comes in the game and he attacks the hitters, and he's pitched against the Red Sox, and he's pitched against the Rays. So he's a veteran. He's a pro. So I wouldn't mind if it started today. I think he should start the wild card game.
Yeah, in his 5 starts, he's 5-0 with a 2.37 ERA. He's been really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, another great move by Cashman.
Yeah, and Lance Lynn, I like his bulldog approach on the mound. He was a nice little pickup too.
Well, he was coming back from the Tommy John, and he struggled early in the year. And I mean, with the Yankees, he's been a little up and down, but we'll see going to September. Maybe he can turn it around. Yeah.
And Sonny Gray in his last couple of appearances, he's like 2-1. He's been pretty good coming out of the bullpen.
Well, the other day against the Orioles, he attacked the hitters. He was aggressive. He threw a lot of sliders and stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. I mean, there's a guy who could be a top line starter if he could just, get his head on right and stuff. Because he's got all the ability in the world, but, sometimes in New York he just, loses a little bit.
And are you concerned with Chad Green at all? It seems he's up and down when he comes in now. It's like hitters are sitting on that fastball.
Well, I think with all the depth they got in the bullpen now, he can get by like the way he was used last year, with just pitching to a couple batters, no more than an inning. So they don't have time to adjust to, just all fastballs. Against certain matchups, he can still be dominant.
And the Yankees only got, 30 games left? I think they only have 15 or 16 games on the road.
Yeah, they got 32 games left.
And who has the tougher schedule going down the stretch, do you know? Is it Boston or the Yankees?
Well, right now, even though the Yankees are losing tonight, the Red Sox have a tough stretch because they got Cleveland and the Braves, and the Yankees got the White Sox and I believe the Tigers. So, maybe if the Yankees can knock off a game or two right now, then you got it. Then it's in your hands. Once you get the 4 games out and you got 6 games against the Red Sox, it's up to the Yankees. They got the opportunity. But the thing is, Robert, I think that last Sunday night game, you remember with Chapman?
Yeah.
When they played the Red Sox, that's a game that could come back and haunt you. Because that was a 2-game swing. And I think it was, a week ago, Pedro made the comments about the Yankees not having energy. Did you see that? Yeah, I seen that. But, when you're not scoring runs, you just appear lethargic and they're a power hitting team. So when they're not scoring runs, they don't look too good. But all of a sudden, they can just pick up and, they haven't been lethargic lately. No. And seeing Torres swing the bat a little better, that's a good sign because when he's going, it seems like the energy picks up at the team when the 2 young kids are both hitting. Yeah, well, the young kids bring a lot of energy and stuff, and and they have a nice mix. And I mean, with all the injuries the Yankees have had, these young kids have really stepped up, and in a lot of ways they've carried this team.
Yeah, and if we get Sanchez and Didi back soon, I mean, that changes everything. I mean, lineup could start coming around and hitting again. And the one guy, Aaron Hicks, he's quietly having a pretty good year with 21 home runs and 61 RBIs.
Yeah, he's really come on the last 2 years. You know, like you say, you don't hear a lot about him, but he just does it. You know, he does a nice job. He covers ground in center field. He's an excellent outfielder. We know he's got a super arm, and he's got power and knocks in runs. So that's another good guy to have on your team. But they really miss, you know, the bats like of Judge and Didi and stuff. You know, you don't have the balance in the lineup that you had earlier in the season.
Nah, and I would love to have Judge back because I think he sets the tone for that entire lineup. But I'd be really surprised if we see him back this season. I just don't see it myself.
Yeah, it's beginning to look like you know, the injury is a lot worse than they let out because like you said, he hasn't you know, he's throwing the ball and stuff, but he was doing that a couple days after the injury. So I don't know, it's beginning to look bleak.
Yeah, because if he's still feeling pain in that wrist, you don't want to push him with swinging the bat.
No, because that's a career injury. I mean, once you hurt, you know, you hurt your wrist and you can't, you know, generate the bat speed and, you know, forget it. You know, then, so that could take a long time to heal. So we'll see what happens.
And hopefully when we talk next week, the Yankees could pick up at least 2 more games. That'd be nice.
Well, they're playing the teams they should beat. So,
I think they're going into tonight. They were 19-5 on the year against the American League Central. So it's a couple good teams to be facing this week in Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, you know, if you look at the American League, I mean, the difference between the top teams and the bottom teams, I mean, there's a lot of bad teams in the American League. I mean, there's only like 5 teams with winning records, and a lot of these teams are going to lose like, you know, 100 and some games. Look at the Orioles. Look at the Jays and Minnesota. I mean, Detroit, Chicago. There's a lot of bad teams this year.
Yeah. And even though Tampa has a winning record, they're 19 games out of first place in the American League East.
Yeah, I mean, I give them a lot of credit, though. The Rays have an excellent, you know, like player development and trading guys. They know when they, you know, like getting rid of Longoria and all these guys. And they bring up these kids, you know, they don't pay them much, but they're big league ready. And, I mean, they're a big surprise team. The only thing that hurts them is they have a small window. You know, once they get good, then they can't pay them because you can only go so far, you know, getting 11, 12,000 fans a night. So, you know, the competitive balance overall, you know, it catches up to you because you can't pay the contracts.
Billy McKinney, who was traded to the Blue Jays, has gotten off to a really good start with Toronto. Do you think he's going to be a really good major league hitter, or just someone who is more of a platoon player, a bench player? Well,
when the Cubs drafted him, and he was like a big time prospect. You know, they loved the way he swung the bat, and you know, he went back a little. You know, so now he's come back a little bit with the power and stuff. I don't know, Robert. My feeling is he's going to play for a while in the major leagues, but I don't think he's going to be a big time slugger. I think he's going to be more of a fourth outfielder. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the kid does great, but I just think he's going to be a fourth outfielder.
Yeah, because I kind of liked him in spring training. I thought he showed a lot of potential, and I saw he's getting off to a good start with Toronto, which I'm happy for because
Well, you remember, Robert, in spring training we were talking about, you know, the Yankees have all these guys in the outfield. Where are they going to play all these guys? And you know, now we have Shane Robinson in the outfield and Neil Walker. So.
Clint Frazier. Have you heard anything lately on him?
Well, I went past the Yankee complex the other day, and I went in for a few minutes, and Clint Frazier was hitting. So
really?
He is taking BP. And one of the things I heard, now this was last Thursday or so, they put him, he had a workout at night at Steinbrenner Field, under the lights to see, like, with the concussion symptoms if, he could handle being under the lights. And that's the last I heard. I haven't heard anything since.
And he's got to be a little frustrated. He could have had multiple opportunities this year if he was healthy. I mean, he's got to be a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, he would have had a big chance to step up this year. He would have had 300 at bats it's a tough thing. But when you get these concussions, you just don't know. You don't want to rush back.
No, not at all. And what's his name? Jacoby Ellsbury. Have you heard? I haven't heard anything about him lately. I was wondering if maybe you heard something.
No, he's just done for the season. I think the Yankees are happy because they have an insurance policy out on him, and I think they get back $15 million of the $21 million they're paying him.
Oh, that's good.
So they're making most of it back. I'm kind of sorry, he didn't play at all this year. I mean, I know a lot of fans are down on him, but I would like to see him up here, up with the Yankees now.
Yeah, because I'd prefer his bat over Shane Robinson's.
Yeah.
Well, this time next week, Jack?
Yeah, you want to do it again next week?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
hopefully we're a couple games closer to first.
Well, I'm sure we will be, and it's going to be a great month coming up. And I enjoy talking to you, Robert. And let's go Yankees.
Oh, likewise, yeah. All right, Jack. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have a good night now.
You too.
Bye-bye.
I'm back, comfortably zoned with New York Mets baseball. My buddies, Marty Rose and Robert Cole. How you guys doing?
Good, Ralph. Good.
Doing good, Ralph. Good? All right. Let's get right to the meat of it. I'm going to ask Marty to start and Robert to respond. What's on your mind, Mert?
Well, I guess the pitching matchups for the first two games with the Cubs is pretty interesting. Which is Syndergaard tonight against Leicester, and Degraw tomorrow against the guy that they picked up from Texas that's like unhittable since he came to the Cubs.
Well, hasn't had a clean inning all year, it seems.
Unbelievable.
What do you guys think of the idea of Bruce playing first base all year for the rest of the year and possibly next year? Rob,
I don't have a problem with that. They were talking about it. If he's swinging the bat and he's look like he's much better now. I mean, he's able to use his bottom half. The hip was able to heal. The Achilles was able to heal, and he looks a lot better. So I have no problem with him playing a lot more first base. And against certain lefties, you can still, put in Flores.
Apparently they're not very high on Alonso's defense. They were talking about that yesterday, I think. And he's like very tall. Is he 6'3" or 6'4" or something? I think he's 6'4", and he's a little, I don't know, a little klutzy at first base. Yeah.
He's 6'4", 240.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's definitely not going to be up this year because they don't have to put him on the 40-man until next year. So we're definitely not going to see him.
Clock.
Right. They don't have to see him. You know, he won't be here in September, as some people were probably hoping. But, you know, we'll see him in spring training for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But,
And
yeah, I don't
probably
see
in
why.
the Arizona Fall League.
Oh, that too, yeah. That's true. Forgot about that. Yeah, they could work on his defense there.
Right. You know, I always wondered when you bring a first baseman in to the Met organization, why they don't put Keith Hernandez with the guy for like a week.
You wonder, yeah.
Right?
You
For
do.
every game.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, he's about, in all our time watching ball, there was Vic Power, Gil Hodges reputedly,
Mattingly.
yeah, there was some good defensive ones. Got one out here with the A's, and Matt Olson, as a matter of fact, is his name, is a incredibly skilled first baseman, picking the ball one hops. As good as Matt Chapman is, he's a little scatter-armed at third base. Unbelievable fielder. But Matt Olson really picks him up, and it would help for sure. But, you know, if the timing is right, if you can get a year out of Bruce, and you still got to make him a better first baseman. It wouldn't, given he's had less than 20 big league games at first.
Well, he may be back in the outfield because I heard the Phillies claimed Bautista off of waivers. So if they come to an agreement, and I don't see why they wouldn't, the Mets should take a bag of balls for the guy if they can get it.
Oh, absolutely.
If Nimmo's not back.
I wouldn't even worry about a trade. You know, they claim on waivers,
No,
let him go.
Just let him go. He's worthless. I mean, hitting 202, you know. But
hey,
as long as
what did Branch Rickey say? Addition by subtraction.
Yeah. There's no reason for him to be here. Except
there's going to be a bit of a log jam with Lagares coming back and Jackson and Nemo. And
well, Jackson's not signed for next year.
Yeah, we don't know if Jackson's going to be back.
Right.
Okay.
But, you know, but Nimmo, I guess Nimmo's probably due to come back any day now, right? 10 days are probably up pretty soon.
I heard Howie Rose on the Mets broadcast say that they'd be apt to be looking for a bat, given the idea that the chances of Cespedes playing next year even are as remote. And they're going to be looking for one big outfield bat, which means that guys like Nemo and Conforto are going to have to fight for at-bats. I'm quoting him. Pretty much, I'm paraphrasing him, but that's what he's talking about. And I think that's good. I think that if you get two guys that show spurts of really being good, like Nemo and Conforto, it's good to be pushed. You know, if they're not doing well in a slump or whatever, you can't have too much depth. So, and with the pitching the way it is, and Pilecki coming along, I don't see this being a total rebuilding. I can say that with some luck, they could put themselves in position to be contenders next year, and with some good play like they've been playing for the last 3 weeks at least.
Yeah. Since the All-Star break,
Yeah.
Since the All-Star break, they've
finish
been better.
500. If they played bad enough to be where they were at the All-Star break, they could play good enough to be where they should have been, at least at the start of the year. I mean, no great shakes being 500, but the momentum, and it would prove that Callaway can get things together, and you got to say good things about the pitching staff. Notwithstanding the other night, the bullpen has been terrific lately.
Well, that part of the bullpen. Okay, once you get away from Gesellman and Lugo, it's not good. They've been getting some good work, but Lugo and Gesellman are the two mainstays of that bullpen right now.
Yeah, this guy Smith might be halfway decent, but the rest of them, forget about it. Really.
And
he's giving kind of like closer by committee type thing. Am I right?
Mostly Gesellman.
He doesn't want to use Gesellman or Lugo 2 days in a row, apparently.
No.
I think that's the situation.
Oh, okay.
And
He tries to use Lugo for 2. He's been trying not to use Gesellman for 2, but they have a lot of innings on their arms already, so it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Innings created by poor pitching at the beginning. A lot of it. You remember when Harvey was doing really bad. Remember when Vargas was great? Oh no, can't remember that.
The other day.
Yeah, that's true.
His last 2 times out, he's been good actually.
Yes,
Vargas.
He's gone 6 innings both times.
Yeah,
I'll give him that, but it was so horrible at the beginning. It put such a strain on the bullpen at the beginning that remember his ERA now with all the good pitching of late still over 7. I'm sure I haven't looked lately, but it's got to be that.
Right, it was 8.6 or something before.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you guys something, okay? During the winter, do you trade Wheeler for a good young bat?
No, I've always said especially with Mats being so erratic, you got to keep the top 3 together.
Well, they got to make a decision on Wheeler because he's got only 1 more year until he's a free agent, I believe. After next year, he's a free agent. So they got to pretty much make a decision whether they want to trade him or they want to sign him.
Yeah, but I don't think that decision has to be made till the trading deadline of next year.
That's true. That's true. But it depends what you can get for him. Depends what people
offer.
They
want to extend him. He's been terrific. This guy is right around the strike zone all the frickin' time. I like him for that, and his demeanor is so much different than it was. It's like 2 different pitches, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like he matured overnight.
Right. So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out to you guys, maybe the advantage of having Callaway and Island together, 2 pitching coaches, maybe it could be starting to take hold a little bit. Knock on wood, injuries notwithstanding, this, that, and the other thing. Am I, a little bit of Pollyanna there that it could turn out all right after all?
Well, yeah, they're getting as much out of the pitching staff as there is to get out of the pitching staff. They did turn around Wheeler. DeGrom's always been good, but I don't think he's even been this good ever before.
That's very true.
Syndergaard is still a work in progress. So.
Yeah, he's got to work on his holding the runners on. I mean, guys are stealing on him like anytime they want. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I don't know.
They can run to the man, steal his pants and his wallet, and still get to second base.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, his delivery is really slow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, Marty, have you heard anything about McNeil's injury?
I didn't hear anything.
He might be out a couple of games. It was just a quad, not a strain, a twinge, tightness in the quad. So I mean, if he works that out, I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I would think that he probably wouldn't miss more than 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. We could use him for these 2 games.
Oh yeah,
he's going really well.
Yeah, Wednesday's an afternoon game, but these games tonight and tomorrow, we could really use him against those 2 pitchers we're going up against, rather than having Reyes out there, which I'm sure that's what we're going to have.
I think Darvish is the guy we're thinking of. Am I right?
Darvish is the one that got hurt.
Oh no. There's the guy that they got from Texas who Hamels, right? Cole Hamels.
Yeah, Cole Hamels, right?
Right.
Yeah, Cole Hamels. He had a 5 or 6 CRA in Texas and was terrible. And then he's 4-0 since he went to the Cubs, with some microscopic ERA. So,
how the hell can you tell with pitching anymore? I mean, it seems to be a big, especially with the bullpen. It's a big guessing game, year to year, day to day.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget the Cubs pitching coach now is Jim Hickey, who all those years, worked wonders with the Rays staff. And he seems to be able to get into guys' heads and change them. And, he seems to be doing that with Cole Hamels.
Nice. Nice as a Rays fan for you, Robert.
Oh, absolutely. This is, we're like kids with a, Christmas present, right now.
Peter says, and I'm quoting, "This is the best Rays team ever." Now,
They have had 20 rookies playing with them this year. 20.
Wow! Holy mackerel!
20 rookies.
Wow.
Okay. Their first baseman's a rookie. Their second baseman's a rookie. Their shortstop's a rookie. Their catcher is a rookie. Now their catcher, they made a trade with Arizona. This guy Michael Perez, and he's been fantastic. Okay, Arizona had him listed as their 4th catcher on their depth chart. And the first day he joined the Rays, they put him right in the starting lineup, and he's played almost every day since.
Replacing Wilson,
right?
Who was terrific.
Wilson Ramos.
Yeah. And
so
they didn't miss
made a good find there. And
you got a guy that has a lot of intangibles, will keep the team together in the clubhouse. Duffy from the Giants, who even Peter said that gave me credit for telling him 2 years ago. I didn't remember specifically how good Duffy was and what a loss to the Giants it was not having him in the clubhouse. That kind of stuff, I'm starting to think it's not just winning builds camaraderie rather than the other way around. I think it means something. You got to have camaraderie. You got to have a team thing going. I see it with the Mets. I see it on the Mets bench when I watch a game. Frazier as an example, keeping things light, being a leader. You got to have that. And probably that's why Reyes is around for Rosario. Can't think of any other reason.
Yeah. Well, going back to Duffy, okay, we couldn't get him on the field. They traded him. They got him in that trade. Okay, he played about 5 or 6 games, had surgery, didn't play at all last year. The only thing that made it to the Trop last year was his bobblehead. They had a Duffy bobblehead last year, and he never played a game. So, it was just waiting. He looked like a good ball player, but it was just waiting and waiting to get him on the field. And, every time he takes a bad step or, takes a hard swing, we all hold our breaths.
Hey, let's give the guy making decisions for the Rays some credit. I tried to last night, and I don't think I was answered. Who's the GM, and what's his story?
They have a guy by the name of Chaim Bloom, who it's Chaim, I think is the first name. Chaim. And he pulls a lot of the strings, and he the architect of a lot of the trades.
Huh?
Okay. One of these young sabermetric guys.
Sabermetric guy. The manager Kevin Cash is totally bought into it. I mean, 3 years ago we were asking for him to get fired, and he just hung in there and worked his way through and makes good moves. He listens to what they tell him to do, and he's got virtually a very young team who listens to him, and they're on.
And Peter was saying you have a good coaching staff, good young coaches that really teach.
Yes, it's a good coaching staff. Charlie Montoya is the bench coach. He was the Durham manager for a lot of years, so he's seen most of the young players. The pitching coach, whose name I forget right, this is Rick. He was the minor league coordinator, pitching coach, so he's worked with all the pitchers.
Okay.
So they, and everybody's buying into it. I mean, these young guys are hungry. They want to play. They play hard. Carlos Gomez, who's the one veteran on the team, and then they've just picked up Tommy Pham also. Tommy Pham's a good ball player. So they picked up a couple of older players. But Carlos Gomez, although he's only hitting about 220, okay, he keeps the bench live. He makes everybody, laugh. He hustles his butt off, does some crazy things, and the team loves him. A lot of the fans down here wanted to get rid of him. He's only hitting like 180 up until the All-Star break. But he does so many other things, to work with the team, kind of like what you were saying, Ralph. You need those kind of guys on the team, and he does that.
Yeah. Now, the Rays got another guy another third baseman from the Giants, Arroyo.
Yes.
Is he up? Is he contributing?
Okay, he's gotten hurt a couple of times, unfortunately. They did bring him up. He was hitting, then he got hurt, and then some of their other younger guys came up, and they've been playing really well. Willie Adames. And Willie Adames was the guy they got in the David Price trade several years ago from Detroit. He was, I think, 17 when they got him. And he was the guy they really wanted when they traded Price. And, everybody was yelling and screaming about, how could they give David Price away for almost nothing? Well, he was the reason why they made that trade. And he's starting to really hit. He's starting to field. And, he's showing that promise.
Okay. Good recap. Thank you. appreciate that.
Not that I'm excited about it or anything.
No. I had never, and I think I might have even said that earlier in the show, I've never seen Peter Golenbach or heard Peter Golenbach that animated over anything. In 2 years of doing a weekly show with him, he is so excited about.
He lives there too. He lives there too, Ralph.
He lives
in St. Petersburg. Yeah, he lives in St. Petersburg.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what's in store this week? We got the Cubs, and
yeah, they got an off day, and then they West Coast.
Yeah, I know this is a lost season on some levels. Let's look at our blessings. McNeil coming on, that was beautiful. We got a shortstop for a lot of years, it looks like, showing much more range. Maybe Reyes is helping him, which would explain a lot, because production-wise, we don't get much for him.
And I think lately, since they moved him to the leadoff spot, he's been doing better, no? Offensively.
Reyes?
Off Rosario.
Oh, right.
Yeah. He's
leadoff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's taken off now. He's with him batting leadoff, McNeil is a perfect number 2 batter because he's
really
the ball all over the place.
When have we been able to say that we have a little speed at the top of the order? It's been
very true. Yeah.
Forever and a day. I can't remember almost since Reyes himself left, where there was any sort of explosiveness where you can create a run. So where does McNeil come from? Out of nowhere.
Okay, I don't know if you guys were listening the other night. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez were talking. He's been injured a couple of years also. When he first came into the Mets system, they were trying to turn him into a power hitter. They were trying to get him to take pitches. Okay, he's a very aggressive hitter. He goes after the first pitch a lot, second pitch. They were trying to make him take pitches. That's that new idea. Well, you got to take a lot of pitches. You got to see a lot of pitches. And suddenly this year,
work the pitcher a little bit.
Right.
That doesn't.
But he said this year he decided he was going to go back to what he does best. They've left him alone this year, and he's blossomed.
Well, nice.
Keith Hernandez said, this shows that it's not all launch angle. Okay. There's still room for guys that spray the ball all over the ballpark. And it's true. I mean, you have to have guys like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he missed.
The game is enjoyable for a fan. You have to have that. This wait around for a 3-run home run really doesn't get it. I mean, you just got to manufacture a run every now and again. And I see Degraw getting a little bit more support. So I'm thinking maybe this can be contagious. And, we could get something positive out of this year to build on. That would be nice.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see it already. I mean, forget 500. We're not going to see 500. I think there's still 12 or 13 under. But if they could play better than 500 the last 30, 35 games, whatever it is, I think that sets them up for next year.
Right. And we'll just have to eat it and look for the positives as they come. Few and far between, perhaps. Over the last 50 years, few and far between, perhaps.
Hey, we got a World Series 3 years ago. The playoffs 2 years ago. So, we got to hang our hats on that, too.
That's true. Any word how Sandy is doing in his recuperation?
I have not heard a word.
I heard he was doing okay.
He is.
The treatments. I heard that, yeah. But I don't think he's coming back at all, you know. I think he's like probably going to retire.
I don't think he should. I don't think he should come back.
No.
Not good for his health.
You talk about a pressure-filled job. It's a pressure-filled job if you're doing it in Iowa.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't need that.
Yeah.
He's like our age. I mean, he doesn't need that kind of pressure.
Right. Yeah, but what the Wilpons have to do is pick somebody. You know.
Yeah.
I have
absolutely
right. Other than
the three-headed dragon, somebody called it.
I mean,
that's crazy. I don't understand that. I think Marty said way back that it just shows that the Wilpons, maybe it was you, Robert, that the Wilpons are going to be making the decisions, and I don't.
Yeah, Marty said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think having a non-baseball. Jeff, great.
That's like having Elmer Fudd make the decisions.
Yes.
Well, he's got one big one to make, and he ought to do it soon.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's the one big question mark now. I mean, fine, the team, you got to do things, but who's going to be making those decisions? You know, that's what I'm waiting for as a Mets fan now. You know, Sandy's out of the picture. You know, tell us who we're going to have.
I read an article about LaRoche, a guy in the Cubs organization. I think he used to pitch. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of, probably not. But to go from Howie Rose hinted that Omar might be the guy. Just something he said that nobody dislikes him. That he spoke.
Isn't it a been there, done that kind of thing? I mean, do we even know if he wants the job?
I would think
I mentioned him. I mentioned him several weeks ago, and I know Marty said the same thing. He said, he seems to be happy doing what he's doing, and that's scouting the Latin American League.
Yeah.
That's
what
true.
I thought. I don't think he needs the headaches again. I really don't.
Yeah. Oh, just going back to the Rays one more second.
Senior at Newtown High School, so I'm always rooting for him.
Just go back to the Rays for 1 second, Ralph. Okay.
Yes.
They have a 17-year-old player that was just named Player of the Year in the Appalachian League. His name is Wander Diaz, I think. Okay. He's 17. He hit something like 340, 11 home runs, 60 RBIs. He's not going to be 18 until March.
Whoa.
Is that a rookie league? Appalachian League?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they say that he may be the next teenage, star that comes out as a teenager.
Wow.
So their system is stocked. They got a very deep system.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys again, who is the pitcher that they got for Cabrera from the Phillies?
Oh,
Phillies,
it's Kilome. I think his name is Kilome.
Is it?
Okay.
I saw him pitch.
Franklin Kilome.
Yes.
And he was hit. I looked him up. He had a 4.24 at Reading before they traded him, and a 3.07 at Binghamton.
I saw him pitch the other night for Binghamton. He's a big guy. I mean, big guy. He looks like he has real good stuff.
6'6", yeah.
But skinny as a rail right now.
True.
Big, tall, skinny guy. But they say he throws hard and got some potential, so hopefully he comes along too.
We're starting to see some pluses, and they're starting to add up. And I'm starting to feel good about the Mets situation. Again, that can change. We're one hamstring away from changing my mood. All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you very much. If you're listening out there, it's a Mets talk show and nobody's screaming at each other.
Mets talk show with a little raise thrown in.
Well, a little raise, and rightfully so. You deserve it. Any long-term fan of a team that has a budget that's that is a micro. I don't know the word I'm looking for. A lot less than the Yankee budget. How about that? And that's the way. That's one of the reasons I like the A's out here, is that we're talking about a $35,000 payroll for Tampa next year. Is that what Peter said?
Well,
$35 million, you mean?
$35 million. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's going to go up. It's going to go up. They're going to bring in one or two players. They basically cut every bit of salary that they can cut. I mean, every high-priced guy is gone. So
if they got all these rookies, they don't have to pay them. They don't have to pay them for a while. So,
yep. So, and Oakland's pretty much the same way, isn't it, Ralph?
In Oakland? Oh, absolutely. But we have a ballpark that in the making, just as Tampa does, and there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences, but one of the big differences that I see is that the history of the A's in this area is they've had winners for. They had the 73 dynasty, they had the 89 thing going. They have that to draw back on, and the fans. Tampa Bay doesn't have that, so that's the big differences in the franchises. Yeah. But it's amazing how they paralleled each other for the last 2 or 3 years in terms of the ups and downs and the fight for the stadium. If the A's and or Tampa doesn't get a stadium, it wouldn't surprise me if both of those teams were gone. Wouldn't surprise me if one of them went to Montreal. Wouldn't surprise me if they went to Vegas.
The only thing that scares me down here is, with the current ownership, he says that if he's forced to sell, the team will have to move, and that bothers me, because if local guys wanted to buy it, why couldn't that happen? And that tells me that Major League Baseball has already said, if you can't make a go of it, then we're getting out of Tampa, and that bothers me.
Yeah. Okay, more to come next week, guys. Thank you very much. If you're listening out there, it's the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all. Marty Rose is the host. Robert Cole is the host. We got a great show. Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
Okay, good night.
Night.
See you next week. Bye, everybody.